Hey everyone, this is Mr. Chris Mad of Visnomadic. This will be kind of a casual talk. This is a demonstration of how to set up a proper multicam video. The thing you want to do is open up Premiere, obviously. Then you want to make a new project as usual if you're doing that. This is going to be for the third and fourth part of the Resident Evil 5. Okay. Between Dag and Edo. Okay. Open those. So obviously the first thing you want to do with your project is make sure you have your files, which I am going to get right now. So once you're importing your files, it's actually good to keep all your files in folders in your computer, and then you can drag and drop your folders into your project file here. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure that everyone has their videos named properly. This is specifically for gaming people, so pay attention. Okay, adding the audio. So after you've made sure that all the files are ready to go, you want to just quickly play through it. You want to mute the game audio tracks for each video. Now, to preface this, you should film the game audio separate from your mic audio. This should be very apparent and very important on both recorders' ends.
Organized by...
Alright. So what you want to do is scan for the moment where both recorders start their syncs. Usually you want to do this at the beginning of each recording.
Okay, alright. We can go ahead and start syncing up then.
Okay. So, recording audio, recording video. By, organized by, ready by.
So to notice, it's to be apparent that they're saying the word or the action in which they're doing in sync with what they're doing on screen. This provides the editor an ability to sync up the video and the audio of both the game and the voices. Important is to turn off the visual of the top layer so you don't accidentally move it. And if you want it to be even more secure, you want to lock it in so you don't do anything to mess with that file.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, so now that both videos are synced, you want to cut off any unnecessary bit. This particular episode seems to have a little bit of pre-recording, so you can actually play with that and maybe add something that would have been humorous before the episode. But for the sake of this example, we're going to cut it right after the sync. So right there. You then remove any excess parts of the episode, and then you make sure that it all lines up pretty much the same, which it does now. Now, at this point, what we want to do is differentiate the obvious tracks of both Dag's footage and Edo's footage. Currently, the visuals on screen might be enough for some people, but to fully expand on understanding whose footage is what, we add an icon to our videos. Now what we want to do first is something that will be very important and will be important from here on out, and you need to know it very well. This is known as a sequence, but within a sequence you can right click and nest a sequence. Nesting is one of the most important things an editor can use for footages like this, because what you're doing is now you're taking this video file and putting it into its own sequence, similar to this kind of sequence, but it can stay in the top sequence. Sequence 1 is a sequence that I like to term as the top sequence. Now, to name if you want to stay organized, you can immediately name these and say this is Edo's angle. And that will be saved like that. And it will save here. But within this video file, it will not save immediately, but it will save on here. Now, what you want to do is then take your icon or text. You can usually most people will use text to tell the audience who you're watching. And then you want to find a suitable position in which this makes sense to be in. Doesn't block too much of the screen, doesn't bother or distract the audience. And then you have Edo's angle right there. Now you do the same with Dag's second angle, and once again this whole project can be made with multiple angles up to the 9 or 10 slot. Like you can edit many angles, but usually I would say the top amount of people you should have in any kind of recording is between 4 and 6. You shouldn't have anything higher than that, because otherwise there's too many people speaking or not enough people speaking, and there's too many angles going on. So we're going to add Dag. And now for a quick alignment understanding to help you make sure that Edo's icon and Dag's icon are the same size is by simply clicking on Edo's icon, going into the Effects Controls panel, click the Motion control, right click, copy, or Control C for shorthand, and then right click on the motion for Dag's and click paste. And thus you'll have a perfectly aligned icon. Now you can do the same with text or anything else in the footage. Now to understand more about the necessity of nested sequences, you can see that I can change the difference, the coloring. I can change a lot of things on this sequence. Just mess with it, you know, but nothing happens to the original file. So it's actually a safer way to edit your videos is to be in a nested sequence, so your primary footage never gets desynced, it never loses its grasp or whatnot. So what you can do is once you've finished your footage, you could put it all in a top sequence, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Now you have two nested sequels, but you still can't use Multicam, which, by the way, if you're missing any of the windows here or you don't know how to do something, add the window Multicam. I hear on Adobe CS6 the Multicam is actually the program monitor and you have to switch it over by right clicking and it'll be somewhere in here. But if not, and you're on CS6 like me, you'll have a Multicam window like this, and you can actually add it to anything. And by the way, everything Adobe is modular. You can move stuff around the entire screen for whatever setup is most comfortable with you. Now obviously you can't see anything here. That's because this sequence is not ready for Multicam. Now what you want to do is now take these two sequence files. You're going to nest these sequence files. Now this is the very important thing. Notice that, and this is probably an Adobe error, because this is a formula for something that isn't made for this. This isn't made for this. This is made for more like music videos and like concerts and stuff where it's all one audio track, or it doesn't matter what audio tracks are there, it's just one big one. This is important because we're using two audio tracks, but they actually provide features for that. So you might notice that the audio tracks are nested sequence 1 and nested sequence 2. Now we know that this is Edo's angle and Dag's angle for their audio, but these are their combined angles. So what you want to do is just drag the same exact file, make sure it's lined up. To make sure things are lined up, you have to have this magnet on called snap. Press S, and it will line up and fix it. This audio track now no longer needs to be here, and you can turn this audio track back on. Now, a quick way to remove any empty audio tracks is go delete all audio tracks, all empty audio tracks. Okay. And it'll remove all audio tracks. Now, it's good to keep some space for the video because you might add an intro here, or you might have some funny text go over the whole footage and stuff, and do that. Now we're ready to do Multicam. So you go Multicam, enable. You take your Multicam monitor, and you make sure that's on the video track that is where the nested sequence is. And now you have this setup. Now it's oddly shaped because of how I've placed it in here. So we can go into nested sequence 3 and make sure that it's lined up with 1 and 2 rather than 2 and 3. So it's a little bit more neat, a little bit more organized rather. Alright. So the last thing that you really need to know is that you need to right click the multicam and make sure that audio follows video is on. Now, other things, it might be on here, it might be down here for other Adobe programs. If not, you can always Google and find where is audio follows video, and it will always probably tell you where to find it on any Adobe program. And that's the last thing that you need to know. And now, whenever game audio is happening,
Nothing. Yay! Spin around in Healy.
now let's watch that. If you ever want to edit your audio, you can just move it all down here.
Nothing.
Now notice that the mic audio doesn't change. That's because it's outside the nested sequence, which it should be.
Okay. Yay! Yay! Spin around in.
So as you notice, the audio follows the footage that you're looking at, which is very important for moments like explosions or actions, or when the 2 players or up to 4 players, whatever your amount of players you have, are separated. You can hear their audio and what's going on with them rather than silence or the audio of someone else. Now once you've started doing that, you pretty much just do that for there on, and then you can add your intros and outros. A second big tip I have is that if you're not working with many videos, you can go ahead and click sequence, make a new sequence exactly the way you need it, and you can actually drag sequence 1 as if it's a nested sequence into sequence 2. Now why is this important is because you can now edit freely and cut down your footage without messing with your multicam edits. Your multicam edits are all saved, they're all there, and you can now add different things. This is the footage that you would want to change the sizing or change multiple things. This is the footage that you would want to do any special tricks or whatnot on, and add your intro and outro. Or if you just quickly cutting out, you're cutting out footage.
You gosh.
And you're just cutting away, and this is for your final cut of the footage before release. And then you can add your intros and outros to that, or you could add it within the sequence 1. It's really up to you how you want to play it. But everything you do there will not, everything you do in sequence 2 will not affect sequence 1. The same way that anything that happens within, or anything that happens to a nested sequence within another sequence will not happen within the sequence. So these are all important ways to quickly edit with Multicam, and saves you a lot of grief and a lot of work. The sequence within sequence method can actually be very helpful for any kind of editing, because then you don't affect the inner file, the syncing of it, or anything you're doing, and you can go ahead and mess with it and toy with it as much as you want. Add brightness, change those settings and stuff. And say you're just a single person who's just filming something, you can now put stuff overlaid on top of this footage, and obviously it won't appear on the previous footage, on the lower footage. Anyways, that was just a quick casual explanation as to nested sequences, and hopefully that helps you out. And if you have any questions, be sure to ask. Check me out on Twitter. I'm Mr. Chris Mad on there, and multiple different social medias, and you can find me there. Okay, that's all you need to know. Bye.